BitShares is a world-class blockchain like Bitcoin with a digital currency platform boasting enterprise-level scalability and throughput with separations of power and self-governance baked in. Need the power of a blockchain with the stability of a dollar? We invented it and tested it for 3 years. Want to make a loyalty token, coupon, or shares in your business? We have you covered. Wish to add world-class development? This tech can fund your work. Whether for an everyday entrepreneur or computer-savvy code guru, BitShares provides tools to empower a world of unapologetic innovators to wield and share value with a level of freedom once thought impossible. Meet a community of such innovators every Friday at 2 p.m. UTC, led by Chris Herring and Fuzzy, to play a role in the evolution and advancement of this state-of-the-art project. Welcome to the BitShares revolution. You just leveled up. Welcome everyone to another Beyond Bitcoin BitShares Hangout. Today is Friday, May 5th, 2017, and we are joined, as we are every week, by the BitShares community and individuals who care about the BitShares project, where we discuss on a weekly basis the most pertinent issues, items on a list of importance for us in the BitShares ecosystem. So with that said, we have an agenda that we would like to stick to every week, and this is kind of a crowdsourced agenda by the community themselves who participate in these hangouts. The agenda for today is going to go as follows: the BitShares Munich case, latest price raise, fee adjustment by the committee, Chinese community meeting, Saturday 100 people talk block pay, open ledger, Transwiser, and Yo-Yow, big interest in BitShares, and Daniel Larimer's new project EOS and what it does mean for BitShares. So with that said, we have this agenda today, so let's go ahead and let's dig in to the starting point on our agenda, which the first item is BitShares Munich case. Obviously, I am not part of the BitShares Munich memberships directly, so I'm not the one who's going to probably be best to discuss this. However, Chris from BitShares Munich is here. So, Chris, are you available?
He just disconnected.
We can perhaps move on to the next topic.
Okay, so the next topic, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next topic because of some technical difficulties. BitShares Munich case, we moved back, and we're going to go ahead and talk real quick about the latest price rises, because there's been a significant rise in BitShares over the past week. I would say, probably about 50% total, maybe a little bit over in total. We're sitting, last time I checked, at 1,400 Satoshis each?
I think it's even further up. I think right now it's around more than 2 cents, 2.6 cents right now. I think it's quite a raise the last 24 hours. Quite impressive.
It's at 1,500 plus Satoshis now, T-Bone. Nice.
CoinCap says it's 2.4 cents.
Does anybody know of any news that might be pushing this, or do you think that it's just from this seeming altcoin wave that's going on right now in cryptocurrency?
I suspect it is what Chris and Ronnie are doing in China, and also what I am doing in Russia, and our team is doing in Russia.
Well, I look forward to hearing more about that, man. So, with that said, does anybody else have any comments, or would you guys like us to move on?
I think that OpenLedger is looking into that topic right now, and Ronnie was posting a message a couple of hours ago that I think around 50% of all the volume is now coming from the Chinese markets. So they were eager and interested to see how BitShares is growing, and I think that's also a very positive signal for everybody. But on the other end, we also have this current run on all the altcoins in the markets, which is quite yeah, it's surprising. I don't really know what's happening right now. Maybe somebody can give me a good update, but it is incredible to see that all markets are growing by at least 25% per day.
And I was wondering whether Janoc would be interested in maybe just elaborating maybe a couple of sentences on what he's doing in Russia.
The thing is, there are a lot of investors in Russia, and they have a ton of money, especially in fiat, and they are looking for a way to put that money into the cryptocurrencies. And one of the ways that they are looking into that is the DEX. Also, we have a lot of features that are really interesting for businesses, especially they are IT related, and well, a lot of people are looking into that, and I've been talking to like two groups, and I'm scheduled to talk to another one that would happen after the May holidays, so maybe next week or like in 2 weeks.
Cool, really interesting.
So would you guys like to continue on this subject, or is there something else that would like to be brought up, or should we move on to the fee adjustments by the committee that will accompany price fluctuations? Okay, I get the feedback I'm getting from the groups saying that we should probably move on. So the fee adjustment by the committee, just for those who are not familiar with BitShares and how it works, the committee adjusts fees. They are voted in and can be voted out at a moment's notice if they are found to be doing things or that are not in the best interest of BitShares with the power that they're given. They are largely volunteers that paid nothing for the position, but they choose to help out with these fees. So every time that the price of each BitShares or the market cap fluctuate, obviously, too much, the fees are going to slightly change based on the price of BitShares itself, because everything is based in BitShares with how much is charged. So with that said, whenever we have large valuation increases in BitShares, the price of that people are being paid or are paying is going to go up along with the value of the currency that they're using, because the currency itself is not dynamically adjusting. So what we do is the committee will adjust those fees whenever those situations occur. And this helps to control how the fees getting out of hand in the BitShares ecosystem, which is quite a brilliant way of accomplishing it. Now, with that said, what is everybody's thoughts on this topic?
So I'll chime in. As I understand, one of the issues is the general sense as to what the fees should be in dollar terms. So that's one debate. And I think separately, there's a related debate about what, considering the rise in price of BTS, that probably those fees should be adjusted. And related to that is the question is how frequently it should be done, and whether or not it can be done possibly automatically, rather than being done by the committee on a periodic basis. So I think those are the kind of the issues being discussed.
I like in my opinion, that's a very good summary. For those who are not familiar with how it would automatically be done, from what I understand, and maybe you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but from where I've read, we've talked a considerable bit about actually charging fees in USD and different market pegged assets. That way, they're pegged to an instrument that might be less volatile than a cryptocurrency. What is everybody's thoughts on that? Am I right, wrong? Where would you guys like to take it?
Well, the automatic, there's several different ideas running around on how this could be made more automatic. And one of the items is simply let the committee post their fee schedule in USD terms, and then well, never mind. I'm thinking of too many things at once here. Sorry, guys.
Well, from what I understand, that's exactly what they were considering was the USD terms, because USD was the most liquid of the bit assets on our DEX.
Sure, that's reasonable. My personal opinion, just as a short-term practical matter, is what I think has been being considered right now, which is, if given the system the way it is now, that the committee should meet regularly, perhaps once a month or once every 2 weeks, just to review those prices with respect to some standard fee that they would expect. And I think that's the short-term practical approach.
Yeah, as I understood, that Xerox already has something that is essentially able to accomplish in a patchwork kind of fashion the basics of what we're trying to accomplish right now. And that's kind of like what you're talking about, is just advocating using that for now and then worrying about building it into the chain, maybe via a hard fork or something later.
Well, the question is if you can find the right system where the fees stay more or less the same value, and then the blockchain is basically adjusting the fees according to the current or latest price. Because what we see right now, of course, we have the huge price increase in BitShares, and when I just actually remember and look at the map, it's 50% up again. So right now the transaction fees, again, not $1, so it's probably 1.9 or almost 2 cents again. So I think it's of course not really practical for the committee to change the prices every day just to adjust the fees. So we have to think about it. I think, but there's also on the other side the worries where we say like, do we really want to peg our platform to the BitUSD or to another fiat currency that is of value?
Well, with regards to that second point, I personally lean towards pegging it to something else, perhaps gold or silver. But yes, on the first point, I would recommend in the meantime, until we get a technical solution, that perhaps the committee does come to an agreement of meeting on some periodic basis.
As a stopgap measure, the periodic approach, I think, is what we're kind of forced to, because the other changes that we're discussing here are going to require code changes, and of course that doesn't happen overnight. So it's going to take some time to implement any meaningful long-term change. So in the meantime, before we have those changes in place, I think we're really forced to deal with more frequent committee meetings. Just a periodic, even if it's once a month, it's better than not having any at all or not having a set schedule at all, because at least then you would know when the review would take place and when new updates to those fee schedules would be in place. It does impose a fair amount of overhead on the committee, though.
Well, maybe it can be combined with the current meeting. I mean, like we already meet every Friday. So if we also come together with the committee and say like, okay, now we want to adjust that, because actually it's just one person required to set up the proposal. Then the fees will be by the blockchain itself or by the committee account, and then at the end everybody just has to vote. It's just an interval, and we also have to consider, of course, now the prices are going up a lot, but that also means that they can go down very fast again, and then we have to adjust the fees again. So we really need to watch now very carefully. I think everybody's job to really take care where the prices are moving to, and then to make the right decisions, especially regarding the fees, because I also could see the problem that if we have a huge if the price drops dramatically, then suddenly the fees are zero, and then we also have basically no protection anymore. And the fees are a mean of protection against any kind of spamming.
The thing is, with the price going up and down like that, a good test to see if there are any people with sort of committee apathy, and if there are, it's a good way to change them for some more active people.
That is a good point, yes. But it's also probably the same for witnesses. I think if you are watching the witnesses right now, they have a lot of work to do with these very highly volatile prices. So if you now see that witnesses or that scripts are breaking or something similar, it's a really nice stress test actually for the whole platform right now.
Yeah, T-Bone's talking about here, he's saying that more people understand pricing in USD than anything else. And I would tend to agree with that just because of the brand recognition of the dollar. A lot of people might not necessarily consider fiat's a brand, but of this group, you probably all do. But the everyday person doesn't necessarily consider that, but it's very true. And if there's a single currency around the world that everybody does know, the USD dollar is really up there. So that's a very good point.
Chris, I noticed that you've come in and out of the chat room several times. Have you were you having some technical difficulties as to why that was going on?
Yeah, it's here. The Wi-Fi in the hotel is not the best, and sometimes you have to see if it works with VPN or not. It's a closer system than I actually thought here in China. It's quite incredible how far they already taken the intranet protocols to their heart. Most of the softwares and programs here are all blocked.
Okay, so in that case, I want to propose a change to the agenda. About the time that you were going to speak, Fuzzy gave you the floor to speak. You dropped out, so we moved on. But rather than letting the time get by us, because this topic that I'd like to move us back to is a BitShares Munich issue. So if anybody else has any objections or wants to do something else, then by all means speak up.
Sure, we can start with that topic and then continue with the rest of the agenda.
Is that all right with you, Fuzzy?
Oh, I'm glad you spoke up, man. I'm just actually stepping back. You don't have to ask me. I will speak up if I have an issue.
Okay, Chris, go for it.
All right. Yeah, so as you already saw, there were a couple of updates in the forums and also on Steemit. We are working on a couple of issues that we are solving right now, and it is my goal and also a goal that we solve these problems in the best manner so that we basically secure all the investments, because for us it's very important. We work on the products, we work for a long time on it. We are BitShares lovers by heart, and of course we want the best for the platform, and I think it's in all of our interest to protect the value that we created. And for us now, this is basically one of the biggest tasks, especially for me, to solve the issues we have the best way we can, and but also to be very transparent in what is happening. And I'm open to community questions. I'm also happy to be here tonight and to answer all the hopes we have as far as I can. And I'm looking forward basically to continue growing the platform, because this is my heart's intent. And I'm also very happy to meet here with the Chinese community to talk about the future of BitShares. How can we move forward with the whole platform? And I think the last couple of weeks and months showed us that BitShares is picking up, right? And now it's not really time for too many internal conflicts. I think they can be solved, they can be talked out, and then we can move forward, because there's enough to do in the blockchain world. There's enough to do to come up. And if I see all the crazy payment methods here in China and how easy it is, it's incredible how far they already are, how easy it is. At the end, actually, you don't want anything else. And I'm totally convinced and convicted that we need that. We need these kind of payment methods. We need these tools that already exist here in China and build it on a blockchain so that the people have the freedom to use it. They have the freedom to control their money. They also have the freedom to control their privacy. And that is our common goal. And that's all what I think we should work on.
Well, that sounds good. I appreciate that input. But what I would like you to do, if you don't mind, is just I've read the Steemit posts. I've read what's been posted online about the issue. But in your own words, Chris, could you describe what the issue is? I mean, it seems to me there's a lack of communication. That's what Ken Code expressed in his Steemit post. And I just don't understand why that lack of communication is in place now.
Well, I think there are. It's always something new, how to work with different people, and we are growing very fast right now. We have a lot of new employees and new people coming into the teams, and it's just that we're moving forward in a rapidly space. A lot of new technologies are coming up, and sometimes, of course, you don't have enough time to really explain yourself, explain your ideas. And I think it is hard to keep up with the right communication, especially if you have different cultural backgrounds. And it was one of the reasons where we got where we had some issues. Let's say like this. We have different cultures here right now. BitShares Munich is very Latin focused. Yeah, we are focusing a lot on Latin America. We have a lot of Mexican employees and colleagues in the teams. So it is always, I think, communication in a certain way. It's an art. And now we have to basically focus on that because it's very important.
I don't know why I had to lend him money to pay his rent because he hasn't received a salary.
Well, the answer for this topic can be found in the answers that we put up in the Steemit post. There are several issues where we invited him to respond, and unfortunately he did not. So
Have you paid him his salary for this month yet?
No, not for this month.
When are you going to do that?
Well, we have the meetings scheduled with him. I'm looking forward to talk with him and to solve the issues, and then we have to discuss and see forward.
Did you hold back your own salary and Rodrigo's salary until the discussions take place?
I cannot comment on that.
Well, then we're wasting our time, aren't we?
In your Steemit post, you mentioned that there's an issue with intellectual property and the ownership by the company. So currently, BlockPay software is MIT license, and is that going to continue, or are you going to fork it and make it closed?
I'm a total fan of open source, and I definitely want to keep it open source as it is today. But even for open source license, and please correct me if I'm wrong here, as far as I understand it, in some issues, you still need the consent of the developers. If you want to, for example, do white label software, what we definitely want to do with our products we develop, then we need the consent of all the people involved. And this is where we had a couple of issues that we actually don't know who holds the IP. And that is one of the reasons why we had to respond, because we cannot pay for software development where we don't know who owns the IP. And if we don't get a response for that, we actually are risking the investor money. We are investing our clients' money. And this is one of the reasons what we are now debating. Because, of course, it makes no sense to spend a lot of money for something we don't know if we own it. And so far, we did not get the response for this answer. Looking forward to get a response next week.
Well, the current code on Ken Code's GitHub, most of his projects, I think all of them are MIT licensed, which means it is open for anyone to use.
IP-wise, there's your answer, Chris, it's owned by any one individual. The whole idea of intellectual property is something that is a sticky and controversial subject in this community, especially as times grow and people want to make money. There's always some control trying to be exerted over intellectual property, whereas the whole idea of our efforts here in general is to make it so that everybody has benefit to it. And you can't hold that to your chest and say, I own this. That's the issue. Now, I understand what you're saying, though, because if you're going to have a token that represents an investor's value, you have to know who's responsible for paying out on that token. So that seems to be a separate thing, though, from the MIT license of the code itself.
Well, just to chime in here a little bit, depending on the pickiness of the lawyer that you're with, a contributor agreement will be essential. That's not super clear. I can understand Chris's concern, or let's just say the general concern about that absence.
Do we have some other questions?
I definitely have one question, and that's regarding the BlockPay token. For the people who are holding BlockPay tokens, what should they be expecting? Is there anything that you would like to say to them?
Absolutely. We thought about the topics of the BlockPay tokens a lot, since they are representing the whole products that we built and the whole vision that we have. What we are doing now is we consider the different options we have, and we are looking into the different things we can do next. This all depends, of course, how we agree on the next steps. But from my point of view, the most important thing is that I want to keep the tokens as they are. I want to keep the value as they are. And one of the ideas is basically that we are exchanging the current tokens, and we are providing a new token that provides basically the same services, but in a better, more regulated, higher, in a better defined way, I would say. Because today, we have the big topic that the BlockPay tokens are on the market, but they are not clearly defined yet, which are always disliked. And in the next step, I would really like to have a clear message what the investors will get for the tokens, what is the use case. And I see a lot of new products in the pipeline that we want to develop. And we see a lot of use cases where the tokens itself can be used. Also for BlockPay, I have a couple of good ideas where the BlockPay tokens can be used in the future. One of them is basically to say, like, for example, if you want to use the loyalty token system and you set up a BlockPay account and you say, like, okay, now I want to use loyalty tokens. One of the options would be to say like, okay, I need to hold a specific amount of BlockPay tokens to unlock that feature. And in this way, you give the token a new meaning, a new value, and it is basically locked away if you want to use that feature. And these are topics that can be used for any kind of product where you basically think about, okay, how can a token unlock a specific feature and add value to the product and to the token and to the whole network. And this is what I'm looking forward to make the BlockPay token integrated closer to the different products that we have, so that it will gain in value and that it will gain in usage, and not just basically sit in your account and has very limited or small function. I really would like to have the tokens that we have to give them some use.
Why not do that with the current token?
That's what he's proposing.
Well, we have to see. I cannot go too much into the details about that, but I cannot. It's not a clear decision yet what we do with the BlockPay tokens. Yeah, if you're gonna replace them or if you're gonna continue with them, that will be decided in the next coming days. But there are some problems. I have to solve them first.
Well, with regard to the existing token, I guess those problems are pretty important. You feel there's a need to move to another token because of some problems. But I'd like you to describe what those problems are. What is it that you feel that the existing token wouldn't be good for? If you want to overload its use and make it to where they have to have so many BlockPay tokens to unlock a certain feature, well, you certainly can do that now. But the BlockPay tokens are more of a representation of an investment than features. But you're trying to roll those together. That's fine. I don't see a problem with that. But why do you need a new token? What is so problematic about the existing token? Is it the ownership of the token? Is it the characteristics of the token? Like how many of them are available? All those things are what I'd like to see a clarification about.
I think the bigger question for us, especially as a company, is the branding. We have, through the current couple of days, we reached a lot of damage in the brand itself. And we have the challenge to define if we can move forward with the branding or if we have to look for a new name. These are the topics that we have to look into, because the BlockPay tokens itself, the function, the value will remain. The big question is going to be if it's going to be under the current name or if there's going to be a new name. This is up to decide it.
Okay, so you're looking at a whole nother name. Now, why would you want to use a whole nother name when you've already built up so much marketing effort and put so much of an investment in the existing name? Why would you want to switch right now to a new name when you're just a good momentum in the marketplace?
That is a longer topic to discuss. I think most of the information are on Steemit already about that, and I will comment that please later. Thank you.
Well, I'll just say it. I'm not getting a really good feeling about this, to be honest with you, and I'll just leave it at that.
Well, I'm sure that we'll find out a little bit more. Does anybody else have any questions or comments that they would like to bring up on this topic, or would you guys like us to move on to the point of we've got a couple more things that we can cover here in the next 11 minutes?
Can you guys hear me?
Thou shalt not steal.
Excuse me?
We heard you for a second.
Thou shalt not steal.
I'd like to jump in here a little. As some of you might know already, I've been in touch with Chris for quite a bit now. He has invited me to visit him in Munich a couple of weeks ago, and I've been in Munich to him for about stuff, let's call it that way, for quite some time. And that's also part of the reason why I've been a little less active in the BitShares and the Steem community recently, because there are things going on behind the scene that are pretty exciting, actually, also for the BitShares community. And to go there, we basically need to clean up some mess that has been caused by some mess that's lying around, and we need to clean that up first. I'm basically, first of all, I'm not involved in BitShares Munich at all. Never was and never will be, for reasons that are not to be discussed. But I will be I will be helping Christoph with resolving all the issues that he's currently having. And I trust him. I fully trust Chris to come up with the best solutions possible for not only BitShares Munich investors, but also the BitShares community. There's absolutely no doubt And I all the time and support that I can give him to this. I've already been working hard to find solutions to the mess that he's currently trying to fix. And I can assure you that the procedure that is currently in discussion is basically going to be a good one for everyone involved. That's as far as I can go, basically.
There's going to be a conclusion to this that has some things are going to be tied up at the end. You guys are working toward a resolution, so I look forward to hearing good news on that front, and I hope you guys all work together to find the best answer for all of you. And
Correct.
Of course, I'm going to also say this. Thank you for your transparency, your honesty, everybody covering this. And for those who are listening, maybe this is your first time, maybe you've been listening for a while. One of the amazing things about this community and BitShares itself and crypto is that we have the ability to start a new ecosystem with more transparency and accountability and trust. So I want to thank all of you for enabling that, because it's very important that we move forward with those tenets kind of in the back of our mind at all times, right? So we don't become the problems that we have today, only 2.0. So with that said, I'm going to moderate here just to close off that end, and I'm going to say Saturday, 100 people talking BlockPay, Open Ledger, Transwiser, and Yo-Yo. Can we talk about that for maybe a couple minutes?
Absolutely. Yeah, this is that's going to be very exciting. Maybe let me give you a little background. What is happening here in China right now? I'm right now in Beijing and in Shanghai. Last week I was visiting the Beijing community. I was visiting Harvey. Maybe you know him. Harvey has a witness on the BitShares blockchain. He's one of the unknown persons, but finally I met him in person. He's a very nice guy, working in a nice co-working space in Beijing. We had a community meetup where we talked about BitShares and also about Yo-Yo. Yo-Yo is a social media platform, a little bit similar to Steam and Golos, that is developed by the Chinese community, also around social media. Yes. And what we were talking about on the meetup was how we can grow the BitShares blockchain, the ecosystem, how we can grow BlockPay, how we can integrate and introduce BlockPay to the Chinese market. That was also one of the main reasons why I was traveling to China, to just understand, to get a better feeling how Chinese crypto users, Bitcoin users, what do they think about digital currencies? How do they like to use it? Is it just a speculation asset? Is it really a currency they would like to use? A lot of cool insights. And right now I'm in Shanghai, and I met a couple of different partners. I met with Fenbushi VCs. We had a nice dinner with Ronnie yesterday, and BitCrab and Jademount. That was a very nice dinner where we talked about BitShares all day. Especially Ronnie is unstoppable. He's so excited about tomorrow. And tomorrow we're going to have a big community of around 100 people where we're going to talk about BlockPay, Open Ledger, and Transwiser. And actually, this is actually a really, really interesting time where three big players from the BitShares community are coming together to present together the vision and the future of BitShares. And I'm very excited to talk about it and to also get the input from the Chinese community, how they would like to see it, how they would like to see the platform grow. And this is also my personal interest. Because if you think about the BitShares platform right now, we have two islands. We have the Western world and we have the Chinese world, and through the communication and language barriers, it's quite difficult to agree on a common goal. And one of the reasons why Ronnie and I are here now is to build bridges and to invite the Chinese community to better understand what we do, and also for us to understand, okay, what's actually happening, what are their interests, and I'm very curious to see what the people tell us tomorrow. I think there will be a lot of talks also about the new EOS platform from Daniel from Bytemaster. And then we just have to see. The interest is big. The money is big. Right now, the 50% of the last trade in BitShares came from the Chinese community. So there's a lot of money. I met a lot of interesting early adopters in Bitcoin, where you would never think that they are Bitcoin millionaires, but they are, and they are very hungry for new investments.
Just going to sneak in here and ask one quick question. You said that there is a version of Steemit or Golos for China?
Yeah, they basically forked the Steam code, and what they then did is they added a couple of new features, but it's bigger. It's more or less like a social media. It's a platform for platforms, as far as I understand it. So it helps you basically to build very easily social media applications on YoYo, and then you can send messages, you can share pictures, and somehow you earn some tokens. This is how far I understood it. But it's directly targeting the Chinese community.
That's an interesting little thing I'm going to take away from this today. I'm not going to lie to you.
Well, it's not like Golos. Golos is just a Steam clone where they just add the Russian language because they didn't want it to share the the reward pool, and that's why they forked and made their own. YoYo is far more advanced, and there are going to be a lot of good news coming out. Unfortunately, most of the marketing material is all in Chinese. I have to ask Jerry if he's also going to provide some English material. They're also planning to do a crowdfunding for that platform, so that can be quite interesting.
Well, we've got a couple more topics that we've got to cover here in about 2 minutes to cover them. Well, actually, the one last topic. Okay, my apologies, guys. Dan Larimer, the new projects, EOS, and what does it mean for BitShares? First off, I'll start off by saying we are going to be at the Consensus conference on the 22nd through the 24th, I believe, in New York.
Are you going with your wife and with your son?
Oh, no. Unfortunately, they're not going to be able to go because of... I could tell you, but it's a long story. However, I will be there. And I'm supposed to be looking out for people who especially are developers or people who are really connected in some way, shape, or form in crypto. So if somebody's interested in this and they've helped in the ecosystem quite a lot, feel free to reach out to me and I can see what I can do about maybe getting you a free ticket. So with that said, I'll just go ahead and I'll say feel free to talk about whatever you guys want to with it. It's, from what I understand, supposed to be an Ethereum competitor, and it's going to be promoted right next to Citibank and their stuff for blockchain technology at the Consensus. So,
Fuzzy, do you think we could do a live? Do you think we could do a live show when Daniel is doing his announcement? I'm also going to be at Consensus. Just bought all the tickets today, so I think that could be quite a cool hangout where we could comment together what Daniel's presenting. I think that's going to be really, really interesting. Could do like a Google Hangout or like a Periscope, something like that. I think that would be fun. I think Ronnie's also going. Already, he will also be at Consensus as well, and I think a couple of other people will join us too. Is somebody here in the room today who is also coming?
I might attend.
22nd through the 24th.
Yeah, so it's around 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, gonna be in New York, and the ticket price are still high. So right now, I really need to see if you can get still some tickets. Well, I think I didn't read too much about EOS yet, but I think it's gonna be a very interesting platform, and we really have to see what he's going to introduce now. What is the next big thing he's working on? I'm very curious.
Yes. I think he's aware that everyone is. Because I can tell you that I was joking with him the other day. He said, he wanted to know what everybody was saying. I said pretty much that I just get a bunch of people who think that I know a bunch of special information asking me, which was kind of like a laughing session because I actually turned down some special information until later on. But long story short, we are about over here, so we're running over by 2 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say thank you, everybody, for joining up today to this hangout. We will do this every Friday. We'll continue doing this. So I look forward to seeing everybody next week at 1 p.m. UTC on the Mumble server for Beyond Bitcoin. And thank you to the BitShares community. You guys are awesome. You guys are where we started, and thank you for supporting us.
Thank you, Fuzzy. I also want to just leave a short message before we end here. I want to thank Fuzzy for jumping in the last couple of times. As you can imagine, the last couple of weeks has been very busy for me, and that was also one of the reasons why I had to skip so many shows. I hope that's going to get better now, and I can join more regularly the shows again, hosted together with Fuzzy, because it's an elementary part of the week to be here, to talk to all of you guys, and to get the latest updates, what is happening in BitShares, and I'm very happy to join today, and I'm looking forward to next week so that we can hang out and have the regular meetings again. Thank you.